Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Voices of Culture podcast. We hope you have enjoyed our previous podcast. If you have not listened or watched our previous podcast, make sure you go to our platform on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and watch those episodes. They're very interesting because we go deep. We do a deep dive on what nobody else is talking about. So today we have Kiptoo, Captain Kiptoo, the one and only station manager for Blue Radio and also the host of Blue Kiptoo. What's your radio show called? I'm trying to get the name and it's running away from me.
The Drive Show.
The Blue Drive Show. Yes. So Kiptoo, how are you?
I'm very good actually.
Yes.
Yeah, grateful to be here.
You had a very heavy lunch. Are you sleepy?
Actually, yeah, I'm quite well. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very good.
Okay, and thank you for accepting our invite and welcome to Voices of Culture. So, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your background and how it has influenced your views about culture?
Okay. So my name is Ian Kiptoo. Born and raised in Rift Valley, Eldoret, specifically in Kaptagat. Really love that place. The weather is good.
Okay.
And, obviously, as a Kalenjin man, I'd say culture is really important to us because it's who we are, because growing up, it's what you're growing around, when you grow up there, it's always around you, be it your family, you speak the language, you grow up knowing or seeing what your parents are doing, so it sort of rubs on you and you grow with it. So it's something I've really grown to really appreciate, and I really believe each and every individual should be or rather embrace their cultures. Yeah. So in a broad sense to say, or rather to put it, I'm really proud, to have experienced what I've experienced, and that's what has gotten me here today, and that's why I'm here right now.
Cool. So just a quick off. Do you speak Kalenjin?
Yeah, I do speak.
Very fluent.
Yeah.
I only know Chamge. So, okay. I usually ask this question. Very interesting. Because you find when you go for interviews, you're asked, tell us about who are you?
How are you?
And there are very different approaches you can go about this question. You find different experts giving different reasons. And some people will go for the academic background. Some people will go for their geographical background. Other people will go for their, philosophical background. I am a young, passionate man who does this, that, and that, And then I like how you went to how your background, culture, especially where you're from. It's quite interesting and how you say it has influenced you. So based on how the experiences you've had up to this point in time, how would you define culture?
How would define it? I would define it as something that, gives you energy, gives you the will to go, something that every time you go back to it never disappoints, something that every time you go back to say that, let me just say it's a philosophy, and philosophy is like, it's like water, you drink it, you live it, it's always there, so to speak. It's something that is ever present. And that's what I believe culture is. It's always with you. It's who you are. It's an extension of an individual.
Okay, interesting. So, fun fact: when someone tells you cult, what do you think?
When someone a cult,
yes.
First thing that comes to mind is something that obviously involves a lot of rituals, something that is ungodly. Let me just put it that first and foremost. Yeah, because growing up, that's what we used to believe, or we are taught to believe. When you hear it, it's something that it's ungodly. Yeah, okay. Not accepted by society, more to speak. Yeah,
I want to shock you. Do you know cult is just a short form of culture?
Wow, I didn't know.
It's right there in your eyes. It's right there in your.
Wow.
Yes. So, okay. We grow and we learn to label things. So we have come to associate the word cult with all those definitions. But originally, this word was just derived from the word culture.
Culture.
Because when you look at what cult do and what culture do, there are some similarities to it because there are guidelines that are set. And then, speaking of which, we have what we call tribal culture, we have country culture, and I'm not sure we are at a level where we can call our modern culture like the social media culture yet, because I had a guest who told me culture takes time. It takes time. You cannot just wake up and have a period of just a decade and say you have a culture, because you don't know if it is going to overstay the next 10 decades. So we have the influx of technology. How would you say that technology has influenced culture as we know it?
Well, I believe technology really has, in a way, disrupted culture. I would first and foremost put it that way, because a lot of what was happening, because even my grandmother today has a smartphone, That's what is interesting, yeah?
Yes.
It is something that is it's really shocking and interesting at the same time. Okay, technology, it is here to stay, which is interesting also. But I really believe it has changed the way we view and do whatever practices we had before, because you can find that, let's say, maybe in a culture, you guys approached or did community harvesting, Right now, guys can come together, use technology to share. Let's say, communicate, you're going to be doing 1, 2, 3. Kitambo, you guys used to have to walk to this particular person's house, remind them, tomorrow we are supposed to do 1, 2, 3. But right now, you can just send a message, make a phone call. So I believe, in a way, it has helped.
We've come a long way from smoke signals.
Exactly. So it is in a way changed, the way we approached community activities, the way of life, because you can find everything in social media. So it's technology is really, I can say it's in one of the major things I can really put is it has changed the way we do things positively.
Okay, there's definitely a negative side, but before we get to that, you've pointed out the community aspect, especially with technology and how it does. Then you also mentioned your grandmother, and it also got me thinking some of the stories my grandmother shares with me. Now, like cultivating, when there was time, it was time to harvest. You have them come together and go from home to harvest. And then I compared that to nowadays. When someone has something, you don't have to all travel to that place, but you can just simply form a WhatsApp group and have a contribution towards this person.
Very true.
So it's quite interesting how there's a replacement. You say it's almost the same thing. It's only that it's now in a new container.
Exactly.
Yes. So there's a negative side of social media. I would say you see so many things on social media right now. You see so many clips, every moment you bing, there's an influx of videos, text, and all that stuff. You get to see things that you did not, it's not that they did not happen. They used to happen, but there was no camera close by to record them. So you get to see all these ridiculous things on the internet, all these funny things on the internet. So we also get to see the sad things on the internet. We are just currently on the issue of DJ Brownskin and the wife.
Yeah.
So what do you think is some of the negative implication of technology, especially on the culture, our cultures of society?
First of all, it's a really good question, because a lot of us have neglected what we used to practice and neglected, let's say, our cultures, because certain things, could be kept under wraps, because some things are shameful. Because, the case in point, when someone is recording the wife, that is, some of those things are very shameful, and distasteful to see. And right now, anyone and everyone can see, anyone can comment and talk about it. And I believe one of the greatest things social media has really done, it has sort of placed, initially, let me use the analogy of a closed door. Right now, social media has placed a curtain right there. Anyone can see through, anyone can go in, anyone can go out. So in terms of culture, our cultures, have lost their place to modern modern lifestyle, because right now people are not even doing or rather practicing things they used to practice. Marriages initially used to be very sacred. Whatever happened in a homestead stayed in a homestead. Right now everything is out there, so nothing is really secret anymore, unless people really try to keep such things really sacred. So technology has really disrupted first and foremost how we approach our marriages, how we approach, most importantly, our relationships, because right now everyone is displaying what they're doing. If I have a new girlfriend today, I will quickly go on my socials and be like, yeah, you know what, I have someone new. The other day a celebrity broke up, and the next thing we know, it is trending on their social media pages, and they are proud to say, today I am single. So it's much easier to clearly display our relationship status, much easier to display our relationship and our marriages status, which is something that was really sacred before, and which right now as we speak, I really believe the sacred in it, or the sacred value it did have, is slowly disappearing.
Do we need to bring back shame? Because I feel social media took that away from us.
Interesting, because right now I think the only shame people have is between them and their family. Right now I will be worried so much if my parent sees some of the weirdest things I do, but if anyone else, be it you, be it my work colleagues, I'd be like, you know what, there is no problem. If you can judge me, there is no problem. So like people have resorted to be like, they don't care about what the world thinks, if the people closest to them are kept in wraps. Because right now, even if I go if you go through a majority of people's smartphones, in their WhatsApp, in their Twitter, in whatever social media space, there are those people who have been blocked, and those people you'll find your parents are there, uncles, relatives are there. So these people cannot access or see what you are posting, but the world is there to see. So it's like you have a fan base, but your family is
it's not included in the fan base.
Your family is nowhere. So basically it's like you're saying these guys can see whatever I do, and I don't care whatever they think. So yeah,
I think the implication, there's so much to unpack there, especially with the shame and the family. I think I don't think we're ashamed because of the family. We just don't like the backlash you're going to get. But I think the one double-edged sword for us as a generation is that we are intentional, but at the same time we really don't care about stuff.
Exactly.
So the only reason I'm blocking my uncle or my parents not to see is because I don't want them asking me questions. Oh, so you are out dancing out last night? Or so you are out taking shisha? That kind of stuff. But also you do realize at some point, even our parents, as you grow up, they bring you to a level you realize you're now in their inner circle. You get to be involved in what you would have called something taboo, or something you not have known before as you grow up. So I'm guessing as you grow up, you realize, my parents is not as perfect as I thought. So like, okay, I can keep my stuff, they can keep their stuff.
I think it comes with a certain point when you start to grow. You start to realize that they are also not that perfect, because as much as we learn, I think the first people we learn a lot from is our parents. That is when we get to but that's when we get to learn a lot. But at the same time, we really hold our folks in high esteem. We like to look at them as gods. So it's very hard to believe or accept that these people cannot be perfect.
Yes.
It's very, very hard.
It's when that glass ceiling gets shattered, it's very, it's humbling moment. You're like, okay,
this can really happen,
yes.
Yeah.
I think you've mentioned that, and I'm thinking, the first, I had a friend in high school, and then the first time they were sharing to me, they were like, I can't believe my parents are fighting. I thought they were perfect. Oh my God, I hope they're not going to break up. Then you're like, okay,
kumbe it can happen, you
Kumbe
know?
it can happen. And then this guy, we were close. We were in the Christian Union together. So they were sharing this, and the parents were pastors actually. Then you can imagine, he's grown up in a praise God kind of environment, and then here are the parents. They are arguing, so you don't really know how to take it as a kid. So there's a whole mismatch there. So you grow up and you really realize, no shame for me. The world, I don't care. The only people I need to protect them from my things a little bit is my parents. Because I think guys cover up so much. Sometimes when it comes out to the parents,
It's shocking, yeah.
it's shocking. Like a parent finds out, the guy gets drunk, the guy smokes weed, the guy. And then to them, this is just a holy guy.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times when I also believe our parents also believe we are also good, so to speak. We cannot do any wrong because, you know, your parent believes you are that good, you know. So even if cases come to their attention that, you know, so and so is doing 1, 2, 3, is doing drugs, the parent will be like, no, that's not my son, that's not my daughter. So also it's like a give and take situation, you know.
Yeah.
They believe you are that good, you also believe they are that good, you know.
Okay, so we are talking about a little bit of background and culture. So can you share an example of a time when your cultural background, or what you understand, or rather your identity, had a significant impact on your worldview or a situation you are in?
In a situation.
Yes, that's a bit of a hill climb there. I'll get your wheels clogging a little bit.
The one thing that I really got me really thinking and impactful about to be, or let's say to be really aware about culture. It's a time, I think during COVID, I was going through social media and I saw some guys, I think in Australia. What really fascinated me is that they took the Kalenjin circumcision culture all the way to Australia. You know, every year there is always a transition from adulthood to, you know, from childhood to adulthood. So, which in African cultures it varies, you know. So in Kalenjin we have ours. So what was interesting is most of the time, even if you are abroad, wherever you are, you would come back to Kenya and perform those cultures and rituals out here. But these guys, they were bold enough to, you know, do it wherever they are, you know. So for me, it was very interesting because they had all the culture, like let's say requirements, whatever they needed was out there. And for me, that was really interesting because I got to understand that, you know, culture cannot be based here on Kenya. I cannot say that since I only live in Kenya, this culture should live only in Kenya. This culture can also live somewhere else. It can thrive somewhere else. It can be shared somewhere else. And for me, that was really, it was a time when I was like, you know, this is really powerful. You know, even if today I get to live in another country, I'd like to continue, I would like to go with my culture there, you know, because I'll meet other people for sure, but I'll also like to come with my own culture and be like, you know what, this is from where I come from, this is my own, you know. And it's something that I really think I would much advocate for. Wherever you go, whatever you do, always move with what is your culture, you know, because it is natural, it is unique to you, and it is what will make you stand out. And don't be afraid to stand out.
You've shared about the culture and how you work with it wherever you go. Now I'm thinking of the Maasai, and you know how wherever they go, to the point they've gotten to the point even the world designers tell their designs and take them to the fashion weeks. Then there's one interesting photo I saw of King Mswati. He had gone for the UN assembly, and this guy was basically naked.
No, it's culture. Exactly. He came in.
You remember that photo?
Yeah, he came in the royal regalia, which is okay because right now in Africa, or so we are made to believe we are supposed to be doing, or rather be wearing suits. We are supposed to be doing all that, but okay, as much as we are moving into the modern sort of line of things, there is also what is, or rather what was ours, you know. I really believe at certain times or certain points in life, we should embrace it and not like be running away from it,
Yes, interesting. I've just thought of the koi koi from The Gods Must Be Crazy. I did some research a while back, and I realized, they live in a very arid area, very, very arid area. And these guys can go for days without water. And like we saw in the movie, they have to survive on roads and all that. So I think after the movie, the government did what we call an affirmative action. They made very huge tanks of water deep in the desert, where it collects water, and the Khoi people can come, the Bushmen, they come in, collect water from it. So I was like, this is a good thing for them actually, because the government did not try and force them to modernize
their lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. And to adapt to be like everyone. They're like, okay, you can just live in the bush, because it's built like in one corner of the bush, and they live in the rest of the area. Yes.
Wow.
So that was interesting. So which brings me to my next question. We interact with different people, right from our community to the metropolitans that we are in. Like, you come away all the way from Kalenjin to Mombasa, you interact with different people, you've gone to Nairobi and all that. So how can different culture better understand and appreciate each other? And what steps can we take as people to promote cross-cultural, communication and understanding?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. One, I believe people should not hide who they are, because most of the time, even if you meet me, you'd always, like, the way you introduced me, you said, this is Kiptoo, so like, even if you meet me, you'd be like, oh, so this is Kiptoo. Most of the time, people don't want to be associated with their cultural names. I think that is the first step. You have taken English names. It's not. It's allowed. It's you can do whatever you want. But you have those cultural names. Embrace that. That is, like, for me, the first step you can take. And then the second step is like our languages. And this is something I really saw in I think in Algeria. There are schools, primary schools right now, they are teaching them to speak, I think it's the official language in the country. It's like, let's say, like right in Kenya, the way Kiswahili is our national language. So every culture, I believe they should have systems where they teach the children like that particular culture. I have this friend who is from Luyaland. He told me something very interesting, that his primary school, they had classes where you have to speak, your mother tongue. It's not like
you didn't have that.
As for us, you're not supposed to speak in school, but
in my lower primary, I actually studied my mother tongue from class 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow. For me, I didn't, but parents, had to insist. They were like, as much as you're going to academy schools and all this, you have to learn what is this. So for me, I really believe, even if you're a parent, you are into the modern lifestyle, you have really embraced it. First and foremost, impact onto your children, what is culture, let them learn how to speak your mother tongue. Don't let it be like after they have grown up, they're like, I can listen, but I can't talk. Even if you go to your rural homes, they will be left behind when people are like conversing. People could be enjoying laughter. They could meet the old, and the old particularly cannot, let's say, speak Kiswahili or English. So they'll be like, what's going on? What's going on? What has she said? What has he said? That is the second important thing, I believe. Also, I believe our education system should like embrace certain cultures, speaking of those languages. And then thirdly, I believe they should be like documenting of our languages. And I think the Luo language is really doing the most, because even if you go to Twitter, you will find the dictionary. I've not seen any other language having the dictionary out there.
I think there are tutors for Kikuyu as well.
There is also,
on TikTok. I've come across that on TikTok.
Yep.
But okay, I'm going to pull on my side. I know there's literature for actually every language. That is one thing I know, because it's even if they have had our own challenges as a country, the Kenya Institute of Education and Curriculum, something like that, they made sure like each language had some sort of curriculum to it. So if you want to go study, I think it's there.
It's there,
because we had books. I still see them. even literature that was purely in my mother tongue. Yes, reading the vowels in my mother tongue and all that.
Yeah, which is important. I think the documentation will really do the most, because if you can find material, then you can learn. And also because I really think when people are young, that is the best time, because you do understand that when you are very young, it's really easy to process information, to really understand words, to understand sentences. So when people are really young, I think parents should make the initiative to really teach them that, because now imagine you have someone who speaks English Kiswahili only. They don't know any other language, but you have this individual who can speak English and Kiswahili and their mother tongue, So even if you go to Europe, wherever you go, if you meet someone from your motherland, you won't be like you're speaking English alone.
It's a proud moment.
Exactly.
You've mentioned that, and at a point in time, I used to feel disadvantaged that I knew my mother tongue. for real. And then I grew up and I feel privileged that I actually know my mother tongue.
You see?
Because I'm like, okay, childhood thinking, but there's now thinking, I'm like, okay, I do have an advantage.
Definitely.
Yes. Which is something that most people don't see. So it was quite interesting, and it got me thinking, definitely if I'm going to have kids, you have to learn their mother tongue.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable.
It's not a negotiation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at some point I was like, oh, damn it, I am so disadvantaged. But okay, I'm not going to say it wasn't easy, because at some point I had to transition from knowing only mother tongue to trying to learn some Swahili to trying to learn English. And I really worked hard at it.
It's hard work, for sure. It's really hard work.
Because I remember there's a time I didn't even know single English words.
Oh.
Yes. I came from that far. I remember I used to go to a tuition back in Congo, someplace. And I had this teacher who was teaching me English. And the guys from there, the kids from there who were learning in that school, they would be laughing at me. Like, hey, look at this guy. He doesn't know English.
But right now,
I guess it was a motivation, because
it
pushed me and I got into reading. I still read a lot. And it pushed me to a level I didn't think I'd get to. Yes, because I always thought I'm at a disadvantage because this is not my first language, not even my third language.
Yeah,
it's quite. So you've spoken of materials, of documentation.
Yeah,
and it got me thinking. When you go to the US, I don't know of Europe, but I know of the US. You can follow your genetic tree all the way to your great, all the way back, and see what's your lineage, what your lineage is like. And in our generations, in our current families, it's hard to come across that. What we have is what you call like a verbal kind of genealogy.
Yeah.
Where you're told this is your grandparents did this. But I'm thinking, okay, we have the excuse of, yes, we were disrupted by colonialism. Yes, we were disrupted by slave trade. But what's stopping us right now from starting documenting these things?
Absolutely nothing. Nothing is really holding us back. I just think for most of us, we're busy. We are busy getting busy, but you're not busy doing the right stuff,
You're busy getting busy.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly. We have not like prioritized certain things. And when you look at our country, we are busy talking about politics. We are busy talking about stuff that don't really matter, we will follow political headlines wherever they lead. We will follow whatever angles of corruption that we will poke holes in whatever situation that is there, But when it comes to certain ideologies and ideas like that, we can't put much effort to it. So for me, I really believe Kenyans and we as a country, we really need to give priority to our culture. Because look at Nigerians and look at their music. Every day we are talking about how Kenyan music can penetrate into the international stages. We do have artists like Octopizzo who are making waves. We have Calligraph, because these guys have embraced what is Kenyan. Look at Octopizzo's music. That is pure Sheng, pure Nairobi culture. That is something that can penetrate even the most international, regardless of how international a scene is. When you embrace your own culture, it has the ability to put you out there. Because look at Nigerians, they are doing their own culture, be it music, be it dressing, be it every aspect of it. They are not hiding who they are. They are not pretending of who they are. It is purely original culture. So if as Kenyans, if as a people we put in the effort to follow through, stick with it, because the consistency to enable our culture to grow is not easy. It's really hard work, because as you said, imagine teaching your kids, you had to learn the hard way, having to learn more than one language, having to learn, because once you've learned a mother tongue, it is really rooted in you. To have certain sounds, pronunciations leave you again, it's really hard. To learn a new language is really also challenging, but it's not impossible. So basically, it's just prioritizing, and guys have to be reminded of what our culture really can do. But right now, we have been made to believe that your culture is not the best culture. Your culture should be the modern culture. You see, right now, guys don't even go back to their rural places. Guys don't even engage or want to know what do people in my culture do when a child is born? What do people in my culture do when this happens? We totally don't have that. Right now, I can tell you, you can meet people or young people who are really grown up, but they don't know any form of they only see things on Netflix. They see it on the internet, and they're like, yeah, so it's totally being eaten away. And the only way we can really embrace it is to experience it. Because once you have experienced it, then it can never be robbed of you.
Damn. Okay. That was word. I say just word. I'm thinking, I talked about the genealogy aspect.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is that a mandate that Kenya museums and heritage can pick up and, try and create a website where they give a genealogy of a family, their clans in different communities, they break them down, where you can just go to the website and, search for your clan and see who came for your clan, who came before that, and see how far back it goes.
Yeah, I think a lot of our culture is lost, and I think partly we can't blame ourselves, and also as institutions you have mentioned, they should put, or rather emphasize the need to have it, because if they don't do it, then who will do it? Because it is their mandate to do so. It is really a tough job, so to speak, because most of it is lost. But as of right now, there are traces of it available, and taking care of what is there then it means that we can really create something better for the future. Because if right now I start creating, then I'm guaranteed that my kids, their kids, and the kids that will come, will have something to draw from. They could be living in any part of this world in the next decade, and they could draw that trace exactly to Rift Valley, Kaptagat, Kipkabus location, because they know, this map has been mapped out, So I really believe it's an initiative that should be given utmost priority, not just priority, utmost priority.
Okay. So what are some of the cultural trends that you have observed that recently are taking root? And do you think they're important?
Trends, that's a tricky one. That's a really tricky one, because trends ziko kibao.
We have
Culture.
we have baby showers nowadays. We didn't have baby showers a while back.
Yeah. Okay. Initially we used to have like certain ceremonies, the baptism and stuff. Nowadays I rarely see it. I really see parents, embracing such things. And also, for us as Kalenjins, we do have certain ceremonies, Right now I haven't seen those. What I've seen is really coming to life are, let's say, just celebrations. Guys will just turn up, buy food, buy drinks, it's someone's birthday, someone has welcomed a child, people will bring in gifts, people will come to congratulate you. Yeah, that is some of the trends I've really seen, which are turning two cultures right now. Because if tomorrow I have a baby, I'll tell you guys, I have my baby is here, my child is here. So you guys will be like, yo, so when are we coming, with gifts? When are we coming for the naming ceremony? So those are the things which, let's say, particularly I've observed.
Do people still have naming ceremonies?
People, no. I would say no. I would really say
I think
no.
it varies with the culture, because I know there are some who have what you call bringing the baby outside ceremony. They have some who have the naming ceremony, but in most cases, the baby comes out of the hospital already with a name. Maybe if it's just a naming ceremony, it's just an officiation, sort of.
Yeah. And also, one of the things that is making culture to really disappear is also because right now, a lot of young people have been... most people are growing up in urban cities, and then when people meet, let's say you are from different cultural backgrounds, so you guys meet up, have kids, and you're like, we cannot do it as your culture does it, you cannot do it as my culture does it. Then we just settle on, let's do it as the modern times dictate. So it's like a child is born, we give them the name, and life moves on. So that is something I've really seen on the rise, which I can say it's a modern culture, so to speak. Yeah, that's something I can say really is coming up more and more.
Cool. So I want us to finish. Yeah. And for conclusion, can you recommend a book, a movie, or a piece of music that you feel provides insight to culture? And tell us why we are recommending it.
All right. So I'll start with the books. Books are really important. So right now I'm reading The Lean Startup. It's really nice. It's a really nice book for anyone doing business, because if you're doing business, a business is a whole experiment. Someone told me it's always about learning, because at every curve you are finding new problems, and the beauty of problems is solutions. And once you find a solution, then you get paid. So that is one book I'd really recommend to anyone out there. If you're looking to start a business, if you're running a business, if you want to improve your business, because it has all these interesting ideas and experiments that it can teach you, on how you can try, improving not only yourself, your business, but also individuals around you. And then the other book I'd really recommend is the book by Robert Greene. Obviously, The 48 Laws of Power, very good book, really teaches you about life, about people around you. Very, very interesting laws. So if you have time, it's an interesting book to read. Now the music, oh my goodness.
You don't have to get to that, but interesting that you go to that point. Yes.
Interesting. The music I would recommend my favorite artist, obviously, is Jay-Z. I would recommend you listen to some of his albums, specifically 444. It has powerful messages, very clinical bars, and also interesting insights, because it has tracks where it's not only talking about life, it's talking about culture, it's talking about relationships, it's talking about personal growth, how to handle yourself, handle your businesses, and also handle yourself, because Jay-Z, man. You know who he is.
Damn.
Yeah,
so you mentioned music, and there's one interesting piece of music that Octopizzo did with Tusker. I don't know if you watched it. I think you should go look for it. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this.
Yeah.
It combined the different cultures we have as a country, because it came to coast. It took the sounds from coast. It went to the eastern, took sounds from eastern. It went to Rift Valley, took sounds from Rift Valley, went to western, all that. Combined it to a very refreshing song. It's a very unique sound. When you listen to it and you're like, wow. So if you get time, just go listen to it, and then you'll feel the blend of culture in that song.
All right.
Yes.
I'll make the time.
So thank you so much for coming through. It's been an interesting conversation. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've had your mind clog and, think about stuff deeply than you normally would.
Yeah, I would say for sure it's interesting, because it's always good to challenge what you think and really talk about what you believe, and specifically culture, because every day we are forming our own cultures wherever we are, wherever we live, workplaces, home. So I can say it will challenge what I think on from now moving forward, because I believe, and as I said earlier, culture is meant to be experienced, not just to be talked about. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to experience more cultures. Yeah, man.
Cool. So thank you so much. And to our listeners and our watchers, thank you so much for listening and watching to the end. And we see you the next time. If you haven't subscribed to us, if you haven't liked our pages, make sure you go to the online spaces that we are in. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok. Make sure you like us, you follow us on Twitter as well. And thank you so much so far for your support. See you next time. Adios.